In this video, we will go over setting up SSH keys, GitHub, and connecting to a remote development server. On Windows, open PowerShell or Command Prompt. To do this, click on the search bar and look for PowerShell and open it. Once you've opened it, we're going to create SSH keys. SSH keys enable us to use asymmetric cryptography to log into servers. To create an SSH key pair, we're going to run SSH-Keygen as follows. We're going to create an ED25519 key, which is recommended by GitHub. And we're going to save it in the default location, which is going to be in the .ssh directory. You're also going to have to include a passphrase, which is a password to use this key. I would recommend using a passphrase that you can remember, but it's difficult for others to guess. Once you've created the passphrase, you would have your keys created and saved in the directory. Once you've created the keys, we're going to start up the SSH-Agent service. To do this, you have to open PowerShell in administrator mode. So search up PowerShell and run it as an administrator. Here, enter the following command to set up the SSH-Agent service to start automatically. Once you've done this, go back to your original PowerShell window and add your private key to the agent as follows. It's going to ask you to enter your passphrase, and then it'll add your private key to the SSH agent. What this will allow is to connect to remote servers without repeatedly entering your passphrase. In order to verify that the key has been added, run this command. So you can see that it's been added. Now, let's add our SSH key to GitHub to make working with remote repositories easy. First, go to github.com and create an account. Once you've done so, click on your profile and go to Settings. Under Settings, go to SSH and GPG keys and add a new SSH key. Give it a name so that you can remember it. So, make sure it's an authentication key type, and to get your public key, go back to PowerShell and enter the following commands. First, ensure that you have the SSH directory in your home directory, and then print out this public key as follows. .pub. You will get a key as follows, and make sure you copy only this part before your name. Paste it in here and then add SSH key. Now you'll have to ensure that you have access, and to do so, you should have multi-factor authentication set up with Authenticator. I'm going to do that now and enter your one-time password code. Once the key has been added, you will see it here. To confirm that it works, just type the following command. And if you see a message that says you're successfully authenticated, then you've added the key and connected it to GitHub. Next, we're going to connect to a remote server. At Purdue, you'd preferably be working on eceprog to ensure the code you write is running in the same environment as our grading scripts. However, before we connect to the server, we need to ensure that you are on the Purdue network. If you're on campus, this isn't a problem, but if you're off campus, you'll need to install the Purdue VPN. I'm going to link this guide in the description of the video that you can follow to install and set up the Purdue VPN. So I have connected to the Purdue VPN as you can see here. And once you're connected, you can open VS Code and you can connect to the server. Before connecting, you need to ensure that you have installed the remote development extension from Microsoft. So if you haven't, you would go to Extensions, search for remote development and install it. Once it's installed, you will have a button here to open a new remote window. Here, click on Connect Current Window to Host and go to Configure SSH Hosts. Open your default config folder in your .ssh directory. And here, ensure that you copy these lines exactly as follows. The only thing you'll have to change is the user, so change it to your Purdue username. Once you're done with that, save the configuration file by pressing Ctrl S, and then go back to connect the current window to host. And you can choose the host name as eceprog. This is then going to attempt to connect to the remote server, and it'll prompt you for your password. Make sure to enter your Purdue password and append it with the comma push in all capital letters to get a Duo push for multi-factor authentication. Once you approve the multi-factor authentication on Duo, you will get connected to the Purdue server. And once you're connected, you will see that you have SSH'd into eceprog. Click on Terminal, New Terminal, and you will see that you're connected to eceprog. If you type ls, then you can view your directories here.
For Mac users, SSH comes pre-installed. We'll be using SSH to connect to Purdue servers. In order to do so while continuing to use VS Code, we'll need the VS Code extension. To install it, simply go to the Extensions tab and search Remote SSH. When the extension is done installing, a new icon should appear to the left of the VS Code window. Before we can connect to Purdue servers, we must first add them to our SSH targets list. In order to do this, all you have to do is click on the new icon, look for the tab that says SSH targets, and then click the plus sign. Now just copy the exact command you see on screen with one simple modification. The characters coming immediately before the @ sign should be your Purdue username. In my case, it is CARVALJ, but you should replace it with your own. These are the same characters in the beginning of your Purdue email. You should now have added the Purdue servers to your SSH targets list. To connect to them, simply click on the right arrow right next to its name under the SSH targets list. After you do so, you will be prompted for your password. Your password will be your Purdue account password followed by a comma, and then a 6-digit Duo security code. This code can be found on the Duo mobile app. If your login fails, like mine just did, you should attempt refreshing the Duo code on your mobile phone and simply repeating the same process. There is still another thing we have to do. Now, we need to add an SSH key to your GitHub account, so you're able to copy the homework starter code to your own machine. To do this, first open a terminal, and then type the exact command you see on screen. Do not change the default location that you're given. When you're asked for a password, you may create any password you wish, or leave it blank. After everything is done, you should be able to see something similar to what's on screen now. Specifically, there should be a path saying where a .pub file was stored. Save that as you need it later. Now that that's done, simply open a browser, go to github.com, and either log in or create a new account. Then go to Settings, SSH keys, find the file that we previously made, and copy its contents onto the box. You are now done with everything you had to do. However, there is one optional thing that you can do. Before, if you wanted to log into the Purdue servers, you had to input your dual security password, meaning that you would need to have your phone with you at all times. There is, however, a way around that. We can put the same SSH key you just generated for GitHub into the ECE Purdue servers. This lets them recognize your computer and let you log in password-free. If you wish to do this, simply continue with this video. First, make sure you're still connected to the Purdue servers. Then, click the file icon to the top left of your window. From there, click Open a folder, and then look for the .ssh folder. When prompted, click Do Not Trust. Now check if a file called authorized_keys already exists. If it does, click on it and do nothing for now. If it doesn't, create a new file with that name. Now, on the first empty line of this file, you should add the same text that you pasted into GitHub's box. That is, the text found in the .pub file from before. You're almost done now. All you need to do is follow the on-screen instructions for how to open a terminal, and then type the exact command that you can see on screen. After that is done, you're good to go. You should now be able to log in passwordless into the Purdue servers.
To create an SSH key pair, go to the Applications menu and then open a terminal. Type in the following command: SSH-Keygen-T ed25519. An SSH key pair is like a more secure version of a password used to encrypt data before transmitting it over the internet. It consists of a private key, which you should keep to yourself at all times, and a public key, which is used by other services to verify your private key. ed25519, meanwhile, is an encryption cipher used to encrypt the data, and it is recommended by many authorities such as GitHub. When prompted for the SSH key's file location, keep the default. When prompted for a passphrase, choose something secure that you remember. You'll need to enter this passphrase every time you use your SSH key in the future. You may get an error that the SSH-Keygen command was not found. If you get this error, install OpenSSH Client or the appropriate package for your distribution. In Ubuntu, you can do this by typing sudo apt install OpenSSH-Client. After the SSH key is created, you'll need to enroll it into the SSH-Agent service. This service allows you to use the SSH keys when connected to eceprog in addition to while you're connected locally. Type in the following command: ssh-add. You'll need to type your passphrase again as mentioned earlier. You can check that the SSH key was successfully added with the following command, ssh-add-l. As you can see, the fingerprint of this SSH key is the same as what we created earlier. Depending on the distribution you use, you may need to start the SSH-Agent first. To do so, type the following command, eval $parentheses SSH-Agent-s and then closing parentheses. Now that you've enrolled the SSH key on your computer, you'll need to enroll it on GitHub's side as well. To do so, open a new tab and go to github.com. If you have not created a GitHub account before, you will need to do so now. Click on your profile, then click on Settings, then click on SSH and GPG keys. Click on the top right, New SSH key, and name it something that you'll remember. Now, you'll need to find the public portion of your SSH key to paste into GitHub. Open the Files app, which should be on the left of your screen on a standard Ubuntu install, click the hamburger menu, and then click Show Hidden Files. Then, navigate to the .sh directory, right-click on the file that says .pub at the end, click Open with Other Application, and then select Text Editor. Then, you can select all, copy, and paste the contents to github.com in the appropriate box. Now we'll connect to eceprog. If you're not at a Purdue academic building, that is, you're off campus or you're in a dorm, you'll need to connect to the Purdue VPN first. To do so, go to the following site, it.purdue.edu/services/vpn.php. Then, follow instructions to set up the Purdue AnyConnect VPN. Since the process is a little bit more complicated on Linux than in Mac or Windows, we'll go over it here. Go to webvpn.purdue.edu as instructed, and then enter your Purdue username and a password. The password should consist of your Purdue password, followed by a comma, followed by a 6-digit authentication code from Duo Mobile. If logging in the first time doesn't work, you may need to click the Refresh Passcode button on Duo Mobile and enter the updated one instead. Then, click the Download for Linux button at the bottom of the screen. After the download completes, either go to your Downloads page and then click the Show in Folder button for the file you just downloaded, or go to the file manager you opened before, and then click the Home button, and then navigate to the Downloads folder. Then, right-click and click Open in Terminal. Here, type chmod +x, and then the file you just downloaded earlier. Here, we can type Cisco and then type tab to autocomplete the rest of the file name. After this, type the following command, sudo // and then the file name again. After this, you can open the Applications menu, scroll to the second page, and open the Cisco Secure Client. In the Connect to box, enter webvpn2.purdue.edu. For the username and password, enter it the same way that you entered it at webvpn.purdue.edu. Keep in mind that you may have to refresh your Duo 2-factor code. Now, go to the Visual Studio Code window you opened earlier, or open a new window. Go to the Extensions menu represented by 4 boxes, search for Remote Development, verify that the extension that appears is made by Microsoft, and then click Install. Now, go to the bottom left of your Visual Studio Code window and click on the blue button with 2 opposing arrows. Click on the button that says Connect to Host. When prompted for an SSH connection command, enter your Purdue username followed by @eceprog.ecn.purdue.edu. When prompted for the SSH configuration file to update, you should choose the first one, which contains your username and is local to your own user account. After adding the host, you can either click on the Connect button in the notification that appears, or go to the Remote Explorer tab on the left of the window and click the connection arrow next to eceprog.ecn.purdue.edu. You may be asked to confirm the remote server's fingerprint. If it's the first time you're connecting on this computer, you can just click Confirm. If it's not, then you should ask a TA because something might be wrong. When prompted for a password, enter it in the same way you connected to the Purdue VPN if you did so. That is, enter your Purdue password followed by a comma followed by a 6-digit Duo Mobile 2-factor code. Now we should be connected. You can confirm this by going to the 3 dots on the top of the window, and then clicking Terminal, and then clicking New Terminal. From here, you're ready to follow the rest of the videos to continue setting up your remote development environment.
In the next video, we will go over cloning remote repositories from GitHub and working within VS Code.